Guys, let's talk about Emanuel Lasker. Now, he's one of my favorite players, but one of my favorite thinkers, because he was not just a chess player, he was a mathematician, he was a philosopher. He really put into words the age of Steinitz in a way that was just so fun and interesting. In his manual of chess, I remember reading that and being entranced by how he wrote about the game and spoke about the game. And he was really the first person who modernized chess from a psychological standpoint as well.
I actually thought of him as a chess psychologist. I never thought of it that way until I started studying his games, that people were saying he purposefully played second-rate moves to induce a position that you didn't like.
Is that incredible?
Sounds like a poker player.
That's fantastic.
He was a bit of a chess hustler, in fact.
But that's the whole point. That's where the chess hustle comes in, because I always was thinking, you got to play the best move. You always play the best move the position requires, right, Jen? You're going to play the best move. How aware you have to be to say, no, I'm going to purposely play the second class moves. I'm going to play this to get you in a position that's going to make you uncomfortable.
Well,
Master of provocation.
Absolutely.
It was really about also understanding your opponent.
That's exactly what it was about.
It wasn't necessarily the quality of the move that he cared about as much as the fact that he was saying, who are you? Do you like wild positions? Well, let's keep it quiet.
Right.
Do you like quiet positions? Well, let's go
make
nuts.
it wild. Yeah.
Even if it's worse for me, as long as you're uncomfortable, that's where I'm going to go.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of the psychology in chess comes in that openings and choosing your openings.
That's right.
And as a poker player, it's something people ask me all the time. Do chess players have tells? Can you trick them?
Right.
And that, I think it is something that you can go back to Lasker and say, the chess poker player.
Well, that's where he, especially for me, brought it in. And then Bobby Fischer later, even Gary Kasparov.
And Carlsen.
And Maggie, yeah, you bet. But that's jumping ahead.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're jumping to the end.
This guy, Lasker, was very, very special, and he was the longest reigning world champion ever.
Well, he did dominate for a long time. He had some crushing matches.
Oh,
that
yes,
were just
yes.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
We talk about Frank Marshall, poor Frank, American player, getting beat 8-zip. Okay, there were some draws in there, but you don't win a game.
No,
but then he did the same thing to Janowski and crushed him too.
Yeah.
8-zip. And so you realize this guy was tough. Now, he did have some struggling matches, well, at least one against Schlechter, where that was a tie and he got to retain his title.
Still
But everybody he played, he beat Tarish as well in their matchup.
Yeah.
And it was a 27-year reign, is that right?
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. When you hear that number 27,
Yes.
Do you think, okay, greatest of all time?
No, I don't, because it goes back to the idea that he wasn't forced to accept matches.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a structure. It was still all about, you want to play me? You want to play me? You got to go and raise money. And I'll tell you if I'll accept your challenge.
The age of the private world championships, we're still in that age. And you got to raise the money. And I don't even have to play the best challenger. I can play the guy who came up with the money.
Exactly. I want to play Jen. Jen, go out there.
I don't know. Jen's tough.
I'm so rich.
Trade, raise the dough, right? And I'll accept that challenge. So yeah, that's why, as much as I do respect and admire Emanuel Lasker, I can't say
He's not in your top three.
no.
Well, yes, so of course that was a part of it, and also World War I was a part of it as well. It came in
ruined
at a
everything.
point that stopped a lot of chess activity
Absolutely.
for players, but not for one player. A guy named Jose Raul Capablanca, who had already started showing the signs of being one of the best ever, so talented from Cuba. Beat his father as a little kid. It was just absolute genius, especially in his simplicity and those end games.
Exactly. So he comes from, obviously from Cuba, goes to school in New York, really doesn't want to study. He goes to New York and plays chess. And he does something that's simply magical. It's almost like Mozart. He just had this innate, unbelievable gift. He was just a chess playing machine. And the logic of his play, the style of his play, the elan, the elegance.
Doesn't lose for 8 years.
It's phenomenal.
Doesn't lose a game for 8 years? That's insane.
Yeah.
Comes easy to him.
Everything comes easy.
And I feel like Capablanca is a player that is very frequently named as a favorite among world champions. Why do you think that is? It's not just the games, but also the personal charisma.
Well, I wouldn't even go there so much as the idea that everybody loves the moves. The moves themselves, they speak for themselves. You look at a move that Capablanca plays, and then the sequence that comes after it, and you go, right. That's it. That's the right moves. And then you're proud that you're aware that he played all the good moves.
He was a little bit of a playboy, though. Let's not drop that.
Oh,
He's a
boy,
little
oh,
bit of a
boy.
player.
My friends in
the ladies
Argentina.
liked him.
I was trying to say personal charisma as a euphemism.
Yeah, he had the moves all right.
It just sure did. I mean, which of course opens that up to the whole Alexander Alekhine and that right. Well, first of all, he goes on to beat Lasker.
Oh, and that was another world championship, 4-0.
No wins.
No wins for
By
Lasker.
Lasker.
Lasker by that time, of course, was aged. But still, Capablanca was the machine. And, you know, the thing is about that match is Lasker resigned it without even completing it.
Exactly.
Lasker was like, this Havana is too hot.
That's the
for
whole
one.
point, yeah.
And secondly, this guy's just beating me down. I got no chance.
Right.
So he quit that match
And he
early.
didn't even want to play in the beginning.
Right.
There was like
He
some.
was very, very reluctant. He obviously Havana was the worst choice for him. Anywhere cooler climate would have been better. But I mean, that was where the money was.
And then speaking of money, Alekhine has to raise his money. It takes a while for him to
Right.
finally do. And the invincible Capablanca
Invincible.
loses to
Unbelievable.
this guy.
Nobody saw that coming.
Nobody saw that coming. That's
No.
pretty incredible, pretty remarkable. When you look at even the history of the World Championships, it's such a clear favorite ended up losing.
Right. So this was 1924, the greatest tournaments ever take place in New York City. Capablanca wins it in a walk in the park. He just strolls down memory lane, just beats the field badly. And Alekhine says, please, 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 Mr. World Champion, play me a match. And Capablanca says, if you can get the money.
10K?
Well, in gold it was. I think it was a very high amount, well over $1 million in gold bullion.
You mean an equivalent?
Yes.
Equivalent of today's money.
Yeah, in gold, which was kind of hard to get to begin with, okay, just the gold part. So he made it very difficult. And by 1927, somehow, some way, he's got this chance in Buenos Aires. And this is just perfect for Capablanca because now he's in a Spanish-speaking country. The ladies love him. They adore him. They won't leave him alone.
Which is, of course, integral to him winning the match.
But
Or not.
Alekhine comes up with the goods.
Plays brilliant.
Plays one of the epic matches. This is to
Beats
me
him
almost
6-3.
like when the modern age really explodes on chess is watching those two because the hyper modern age had come about as well, and the world championships started being full of these kind of interesting opens. They played a lot of Queen's Gambit declines. Just about every game.
Exactly.
But then the modern age really strikes then.
Right.
And Alekhine becomes champ. And
The level of their play is extraordinarily high.
so, of course, the modern age had arrived, and these guys showed what true epic chess was about. That was indeed one of the great ones.